AITA for telling my wife that if she wanted a perfect family, she should have stayed with her ex. So I, 36M, have been married to my wife, Alana, 34F, for 5 years. We have a 2-year-old daughter together, and I also have a 10-year-old son, Jamie, from a previous relationship. Jamie lives with us full-time. His mom passed away when he was 5. I've raised him since then, and he's a good kid, smart, sweet, but a little awkward socially. He's been through a lot. Alana and I met when Jamie was 6. She was amazing with him, and for the first couple of years, I genuinely thought everything was going well. She said she admired how I stepped up as a single dad, and she always treated Jamie kindly, at least on the surface. But things started changing after we had our daughter. Alana became more controlling, especially around parenting. Suddenly, everything Jamie did was a bad influence on our daughter. If he made a mess, it was setting a bad example. If he got a little loud playing video games, it was teaching her to be disrespectful. It felt like she was nitpicking him constantly. I brought it up a few times, and she always deflected, saying she just wanted to raise our daughter in a calm and orderly home, and that I was being too sensitive. Then came the birthday incident. Jamie's 10th birthday was 3 weeks ago. I asked him what he wanted, and he said he wanted a Lego pirate ship. He's really into Lego and builds these insanely complex sets by himself. I ordered it online and planned to surprise him after dinner with cake and a few gifts from family. Alana didn't seem thrilled when she saw the set. She said, "Isn't that a little young for him?" I reminded her that he loves Lego, and she just rolled her eyes and walked away. That evening, during the little celebration, she stayed mostly silent. No happy birthday. No singing, just a cold presence at the table. After Jamie went to bed, she told me she thought the whole thing was a bit childish and that maybe we needed to start helping him grow up in more age-appropriate ways. I was floored. It was his birthday. I told her that if she didn't like seeing a child enjoy their birthday, maybe she needed to examine why she was so fixated on controlling everything. She told me I was overreacting. A week later, I found out she had donated some of Jamie's older toys, stuffed animals, action figures, a few model kits, to a local donation center without asking either of us. Some of those things were sentimental, especially a teddy bear that Jamie's mom gave him. When I confronted her, she said she was just decluttering and that Jamie needed to start maturing. I was furious. I told her she had no right to do that without asking, and she said she thought it was a joint decision. I told her I would never get rid of our daughter's toys without talking to her first, and she replied, "Well, our daughter's not 10 years old and still acting like a toddler." That was the first time I really snapped. I told her she needed to stop treating my son like some kind of problem just because he doesn't fit into her Pinterest perfect idea of a family. She accused me of twisting things and said she only wanted what was best for our family. Then last weekend happened. We were visiting her sister for a barbecue. Jamie is shy and doesn't like being pushed into big social settings, but he was doing fine, quiet but polite. He sat at a corner table, reading a graphic novel while the rest of us were chatting. Alana's sister asked if everything was okay with him, and before I could answer, Alana said, "Oh, he's always like that, kind of off in his own world." She said it with a smile, but I could tell Jamie heard it. He looked down and didn't speak for the rest of the evening. On the drive home, I asked her why she said that. She claimed she was just joking and that I was being too sensitive. Again, that night, Jamie asked me if he was weird. That was it. After I put him to bed, I went downstairs and told Alana we needed to talk. I told her I was done watching her chip away at my son's self-esteem, that he was a good kid who had lost his mom and didn't deserve to be treated like an inconvenience in his own home. She went on this long rant about how she's tried everything to connect with him and that nothing works because he's just different. She said she thought things would get better after we had our daughter and we could start fresh as a family. But it's been emotionally exhausting to raise someone else's child who doesn't mesh with her parenting style. That's when I said it. If you wanted a perfect family, maybe you should have stayed with your ex. Backstory: her ex was some finance guy she dated before me. No kids, no miss. She dumped him because he was emotionally distant, but she still occasionally compares things in our life to how simple things were with him. It's a sore spot, and I knew it would sting, but I meant it. She got really quiet and then just said, "Wow," and left the room. Since then, things have been tense. She's not speaking to me unless it's about our daughter. She's sleeping in the guest room. Yesterday, she told me she's considering staying at her sister's for a while to get some clarity. I've told her I'm open to counseling, that I want us to work through this, but I won't let her keep sidelining my son. My mother-in-law called me a few days ago and said I was cruel for bringing up her ex and throwing her sacrifices back in her face. She said I should be grateful Alana has taken on Jamie as her own for the past few years. But to me, that's the problem. It doesn't feel like she's taken him on as her own. It feels like she's been quietly tolerating him until she could build the real family she wanted. Maybe I was too harsh. Maybe I should have handled things differently. I don't know. So, AITA for telling my wife that if she wanted a perfect family, she should have stayed with her ex. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the content grow and motivates me to create even more great videos. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. By the way, I'm curious, when do you usually watch my videos? While working, studying, or just relaxing at home? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your support. AITA for refusing to give my sister the family cabin after what she did 10 years ago. So I, 34 am the youngest of 3 siblings. My sister Lena, 42F, is the oldest, and our brother Josh, 38M, is in the middle. Our parents passed away in a car accident when I was 17. Lena was 25, and Josh was 21. It was awful, obviously, and losing them so suddenly really threw our family into chaos. The cabin in question is a property that's been in our family for generations. My great-grandfather built it. It's a beautiful, rustic lakeside place in upstate New York. Nothing fancy, but full of memories. Every summer we'd spend 2 weeks there as a family. Fishing, campfires, board games. It was sacred to us. When my parents died, their estate was split evenly among the 3 of us. But there was a separate clause about the cabin. It would go to the sibling who was most actively involved in maintaining and preserving its legacy. That was a vague way of saying, whoever gave a crap. At the time, we agreed to figure out what to do with the cabin later, once things settled. Lena had just gotten married, Josh was starting grad school, and I was finishing high school, so it wasn't a priority. But here's the thing. Over the past 10 years, I've been the only one who actually took care of the place. I paid for new plumbing when the pipes burst during a winter storm. I drove up every spring to do maintenance. I repainted it, replaced the rotting deck boards, even paid property taxes when Josh and Lena said they couldn't afford it. I used part of my inheritance to keep it afloat because it meant so much to me. I eventually got married and started bringing my own kids up there, trying to give them the same experiences I had. Lena, on the other hand, hasn't been there once in the last decade. Not even when we offered to plan a family reunion there in 2019. She said she doesn't do bugs. Josh came up maybe twice and helped out a little, but I didn't mind doing the heavy lifting because I love the place. Now, here's where things get wild. Last month, Lena showed up out of nowhere with her husband and 2 teenage kids. I was at the cabin with my wife and our kids, and I honestly thought they were just stopping by to say hi. Nope. She told me she was moving in for the summer. Apparently, she's going through a messy divorce. Her husband left her for a younger woman, and she wanted a peaceful escape for the kids. She brought boxes, like moving boxes. I was stunned. I calmly told her this was not how any of this worked. She didn't ask, didn't check with anyone, just assumed she could reclaim the cabin like it was a spare Airbnb. I told her we were already here for the week and had plans, and she could stay in town at a motel if she wanted to visit. She lost it, said I was hoarding the family legacy, that I was being selfish and ungrateful, that she had just as much right to the cabin as I did. Here's the part I've never told Reddit before, but it's the reason this whole situation feels even worse to me. 10 years ago, after my parents died, Lena tried to sell the cabin. She didn't tell me or Josh. I found out because a real estate agent showed up at the property while I was cleaning it one weekend. He had a whole folder and said he was there to take pictures. I called Lena, and she admitted she was trying to sell it to help cover her mortgage. When I told her this was not hers alone to sell, she told me I was being immature and emotional. She backed off when I threatened legal action, but I never forgot it. So now, seeing her show up and act like she's entitled to live there like nothing ever happened just made my blood boil. When I reminded her of the attempted sale, she acted like it was ancient history. She said I was holding a grudge and being petty. I told her no, she couldn't move in, and I wouldn't be giving her access to the keys, utilities, or garage. She called Josh, who surprisingly took my side and said that while he sympathized with her divorce, she had no right to barge in after a decade of silence and expect to take over. Lena called me a heartless little brat and drove off in tears. Later, she posted this long rant on Facebook about how families should stick together in hard times and how some people forget where they came from. A bunch of her friends who don't know the full story have been sending me messages saying I should do the right thing. Even a couple of extended family members are saying I should let her stay for the summer, just to help her out. That it's what our parents would have wanted. But I feel like people are ignoring everything that happened before. Lena only cared about the cabin when it suited her. She never lifted a finger to maintain it. She tried to sell it behind our backs. And now, because her life is hard, she expects a clean slate and full access? I'm not trying to be cold. I offered to help her find a nearby rental. I even said she could come visit for a weekend if she wanted. But giving her the run of the place? After everything? No way. I talked to a lawyer and started the process of formally transferring the cabin into my name, since I've been the sole person responsible for it all these years, and the original clause supports that. Josh signed off without hesitation. Lena, of course, is livid. So now I'm a bad guy. The little brother who won't share. But from where I'm sitting, I feel like I've been the only one honoring the family legacy all this time. I'm not trying to punish her for her divorce. But I also don't think she's entitled to a property she ignored, neglected, and tried to sell. AITA for refusing to let her move in or use the family cabin. AITA for refusing to help my sister after she borrowed my wedding dress without asking and ruined it. So I, 27F, got married this past June. It was a small but beautiful outdoor wedding. I spent months planning every detail. My husband and I paid for everything ourselves, venue, catering, flowers, photographer, all of it. We both work full-time, but have been saving since our engagement, so it was really important to us to make the day special but still stay within our budget. That said, I didn't skimp on my dress. I bought it from a local boutique. It was custom-made with lace detailing, hand-stitch beading, and a long tulle train. It was by far the most expensive piece of clothing I've ever owned, around $3,800, but I fell in love with it. I cried when I put it on. It was my dress, the dress of my dreams. Now, my younger sister, 24F, let's call her Kayla, has always had a bit of a reckless streak. She's fun, outgoing, but honestly, she's also incredibly impulsive and rarely thinks about consequences. Growing up, she would borrow my clothes and makeup constantly without asking, often ruining them or never returning them. I used to lock my closet, but my parents would always say, "She's your sister. Don't be so dramatic." I haven't lived at home in years, but the dynamic didn't change much. Kayla and I have a decent relationship now, but I still don't trust her with my things. And she knows that. Anyway, a few weeks ago, Kayla got invited to a high-end masquerade party hosted by one of her friend's very rich cousins. Think Gatsby-level fancy. She apparently wanted to make an impression, and instead of shopping for a gown or asking friends, she decided my wedding dress would be the perfect outfit. Except she never asked me. I didn't even know she had it until my mom texted me a photo from the party, gushing about how gorgeous Kayla looked in your dress. I stared at the picture for 5 full minutes in shock. There was my sister wearing my wedding dress, dragging the train through some grassy outdoor estate, holding a champagne glass and posing like it was her red carpet moment. I immediately called her. She didn't pick up. When she finally texted me back the next day, it was super casual. "OMG, chill. You weren't going to wear it again anyway, LOL. I was careful. I just borrowed it for the night. I lost it." I told her she had no right to take something so personal and expensive without asking. And she tried to gaslight me, saying I was overreacting and being selfish for not sharing. My mom jumped in to say it's just a dress, and that I should be happy it got used again instead of rotting in a closet. It gets worse. When I went to my parents' house to collect the dress, I found it balled up in a plastic bag in their guest room. The train was completely filthy, grass stains, red wine, even a ripped section near the bottom. The delicate beading was coming loose, and several lace sections were torn. I was horrified. It looked like it had been in a mosh pit, not a classy party. I brought it to a professional cleaner who specializes in wedding gowns. She told me the damage was severe, and while some of it might be fixable, it would cost around $900 to $1,200 for cleaning and repairs, with no guarantee it would ever look the same. I sent Kayla the bill. She refused to pay it. She said she didn't have that kind of money lying around, and that I should just let it go. My mom agreed, and even said, "You had your day. Don't punish your sister for enjoying hers." That was the final straw for me. I told Kayla she could either pay the cleaning/repair bill, or I would no longer be helping her with anything. And I meant it. No more co-signing her apartment lease next year. No more helping her with job applications. Nothing. I told her until she learned to respect other people's property, I didn't want to be involved in her problems. Now the whole family thinks I'm being vindictive. My mom keeps calling me cold, and said Kayla is devastated because she only wanted to feel beautiful for one night. My dad is mostly quiet, but told me maybe I should be the bigger person. Even my aunt chimed in saying sisters fight, but things like this shouldn't break a bond. But I'm seriously hurt. I don't care that I won't wear the dress again. It was mine. She stole something incredibly sentimental and trashed it. And now everyone is acting like I'm the bad guy for wanting her to take responsibility. So, AITA for refusing to help my sister after she stole and ruined my wedding dress?